From the greatest city on the planet Earth, it's the Tom and Mickey Show. Everything is showbiz. Lights, camera, action. Presenting
Christine Ebersole, ThisMoment. We are thrilled to be bringing to the show today one of our nearest and dearest friends, the immensely talented Christine Ebersole. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, why do I know that name? How do I place it? It is because she has been living in your brain for decades. Two-time Tony winner, you may have seen her in 42nd Street or where she played Little Edie in Grey Gardens. If you're a certain age, perhaps you saw her as Mrs. Rich in the film Richie Rich with Macaulay Culkin. She has been in Tootsie. She has been in Amadeus. She has been on television for eons. If her acting weren't just so good, that voice is heavenly.
Boy, is that voice heavenly. And when Michael and Terrence invited us to have our wedding at their townhouse, a little seed was planted a while back at a dinner party where Christine said, when you two tie the knot, just keep in mind that I'm an officiant.
It takes a life to realize what life is all about. And life is all about this moment. I'm here with you before we're through. What secret will we tell? I'll learn to know you well. This moment, how soon?
Tony Award nominee, Christine Ebersole.
Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright, 'cause I only have eyes for you, dear.
And the Tony Award for Best Leading Actress in a Musical goes to Christine Ebersole, 42nd Street.
But I can't see a thing in the sky.
And the American Theater Wing Tony Award, I've always wanted to see this, goes to Christine
I left Hollywood when they told me I was over the hill, and now I'm standing here with this most distinguished award for what I consider to be the role of a lifetime. I'm over the hill in the role of a lifetime. This is so encouraging.
So what made you decide to do this? I'm interviewing you now.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
The tables have turned so
Yes,
early.
yes.
What made us decide to do this? We're tired of all those real estate reality shows.
Oh,
How's that?
right.
For a starter.
Yeah.
And we were on the first one. We were on the Selling New York on HGTV.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. And it was, I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was a way to get people inside of beautiful properties.
Yeah.
And the brokers were there to tell a little bit of the story and to be that conduit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's if you know what I'm saying.
Because everybody wants to do it, or everybody's
It's just
getting
very,
in
it's
there?
all about sensationalism.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not really wired for sensationalism.
Mm-hmm.
But we were thinking, within the real estate space, is there a show that we should be doing or thinking about? And we talked about it for a long time, and everybody said, you guys should do it. And we thought about that space, and we were talking to a client on our way back from a show. And we said, talking about doing a podcast. He said, I hope it's not about real estate. Nobody wants to listen to that shit.
Because there are so many real estate where they talk about, and last week, the average co-op sale was down by 2.1. It's like, oh, come on. I mean, really. If that's what you're looking for, we sell real estate. That's our gig. But you know us. In our soul, we have a lot of the showbiz.
Right.
A lot of show business clients. And I believe we've counseled you a little bit maybe over the years on the real estate, or maybe not. I'm not sure.
True.
Well, I don't know.
You
Can
have
you
Maplewood.
find us something wonderful?
Where would you like to? You have something.
No, we have something wonderful in Maplewood, New Jersey. But I was thinking of maybe just like a little pied-à-terre somewhere that has a fireplace and a balcony. And it was built in, the turn of the last century.
Oh, I like that very much.
And it's not too far from the park. Or maybe Greenwich Village. I don't know. There's so many wonderful places in here.
Well, that's our problem in this
It's a good
business.
thing Bill's here.
In our business, wanderlust is a side effect.
Yeah.
Because if we're working downtown, especially in the springtime
Is that
or
where
fall,
your office is?
Yeah. We're at right by Union Square.
which is
okay.
wonderful. What a
16th
wonderful
and
neighborhood.
5th.
I used to live on 13th between 2nd and 3rd. Sixth floor walk up.
That'll keep you fit.
If it rained when you got downstairs and you didn't have an umbrella, you just bought a new one. I'm not going back up those 6 flights of stairs.
We often say in the real estate biz, it's not the work, it's the stairs.
Yeah, that's what Elaine Stritch said.
That's exactly right.
But it started with
Elaine Stritch.
Mae West.
Oh, it was Mae West.
It was Mae
That's
West.
right.
She's the original, but Stritchy,
Yeah.
she knows how to deliver a line or two.
She made it her own.
But talking about real estate, you have the most fabulous treehouse at your property.
Yes.
Can you tell us how that
Courtesy of
happened?
Bill Maloney.
Bill Maloney. All right. So if we wanted to have a treehouse at our Long Island weekend house,
Is there a
Do we
tree
call-
for it?
yes, many trees. So we call Maloney Incorporated. Is that
I think so.
is that how it happens?
I think so. It's really magical, the treehouse. It's 2 stories.
Stories.
It's
A
two-story-
duplex.
It's a 2-story treehouse. Yeah.
Treehouse.
Oh,
There's
don't
like a
go
little
co-op,
sitting
though.
room on you walk up these 2 flights of stairs up the tree, and you have to kind of go sideways because the trunk insinuates itself on the staircase. So
Okay.
you kind of have to move
I love
sideways
it.
to get
I
past
love
the big trunk or one of the branches of the trunk. There's like a trunk. It's that big. And then you have like a little sitting room, and then you climb up this ladder, and then you're up in this magical place where these windows, there's no electricity, there's no Wi-Fi, nothing like that. So it just has these windows. You're just enveloped by this tree and the breeze, and the bugs don't come up that high. They usually stay closer
That's
to the
right.
ground.
We've learned that.
And you just go up there and dream away.
Do you have a little bucket on a pulley like
Oh,
Robinson
that's a good
Crusoe
idea.
for supplies?
That's a good idea.
See,
okay.
this is how we add value.
So,
You
but
see?
this is talking about real estate here.
no.
No, but this is our treehouse is part of our real
It is
estate.
part of real estate.
What a
Exactly.
nice amenity that is.
But
It's real
please stop us
estate.
if we start talking about the market for tree houses. Well,
Yeah,
houses
yeah.
with tree houses typically
You'll be happy
sell
now. We read
3
a
to
report
4
today.
Oh, did
Homes
you?
with tree houses have soared in the last
Have you
Is that
heard that in the New York
right?
Times?
Yeah.
There's a new trend. I think that would scratch one of my itches from being a kid. I wanted a tree house, a rope swing, and secret passages to anywhere.
Yes.
I might have died at one point because I decided to build an underground bunker with no knowledge of what structure might have meant. So I thought I could just dig a hole, put some twigs on it. But I'm here. I'm here.
You survived. Yes. Well, we did have on Ben Avenue before we moved to Maplewood, New Jersey, we lived on Ben Avenue in Studio City in California. And we added to 1,000 square feet, right? And in that we did have one of those secret doorways. Remember? That got us between one of the bedrooms into the other bedroom. And it went through this walk-in closet. It was really fun.
love that.
Yeah. It was
Very
just kind of a
speakeasy
fun,
in nature.
It was.
I love those kind of secret doors. That happens occasionally. Not so much in New York City apartments.
Oh, it
No.
does.
It does.
It
does?
Like those
bookcases
hidden
that
books.
open? Yeah.
Name 3.
Oh, that would be fun.
No, I mean, not like
hidden
Batman
bookcase.
style where you pull the arm of the statue, but hidden bookcases are very common.
Like in Frankenstein. Remember?
You're talking about some of our clients now. That's terrible.
The good old days.
But there we
Good old
are.
days. So let's talk about these days.
These days.
These days aren't so bad.
Have you seen?
Good.
Have you seen you've seen, I know you have, Maybe Happy Ending. Fantastic.
Did you not love it?
Right? Right? We saw it the other night with Mr. Feinstein, and we were all
I just cried and cried.
blown away. I mean,
I told him about that. I
Yeah.
said, you've got to see this.
And he was in
it.
town, and he said, "Let's all go." And he said, "Christine raved, spectacular."
And, you know, because when I saw it with my friend David Rothenberg, who takes me to everything, and he, you know, when I first was there, I was like, really?
Mhm.
This is a musical about robots? Okay. And then as you start to feel yourself being pulled in. And by the end, it was like, oh my God. Literally, I was a blithering mess.
We were very moved.
Oh,
by
it
it.
was so good.
And a beautiful one act.
Beautiful,
Just the whole
beautiful,
gorgeous story
beautiful,
and the
beautiful.
fireflies and
Oh,
Darren Criss and Helen Shen. I mean, do you ever predict Tony Awards? Is that something you do?
well, it should get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really should.
Yeah.
Hear ye, hear ye. Yeah. It's really special. And for the New York Times, we read the reviews after we see the show.
Okay.
We've learned, do not read a review on a show that you want to see prior to seeing it, because it just puts that,
Good,
you know,
bad, or
Yeah,
indifferent.
whatever
right.
it is. Just, So, of course, we rushed back after that lovely night, and we read it. And for Jesse Green to call it astonishing, to see the word astonishing in a New York Times theater review,
Oh, I'm so glad.
right? I can't remember the last time I saw that word.
And you know, it's also on the wrong or the other side of Broadway.
Yes.
You know, so it doesn't have that kind of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It's this little hidden gem that you're going to witness.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
So much fun. Do you keep up on a lot of the current crop of Broadway shows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us some favorites that you've seen.
I loved The Hills of California. Loved that.
Okay.
And Hold On to Me, Darling,
We didn't see that.
Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Those two plays. Those were my favorites.
I learned something today because we were catching up on our Christine facts.
Mm-hmm.
Your first club act, Mark Shaman.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That was in 1980, and I was doing Camelot. I was playing Guinevere opposite Richard Burton. And
That's a gig.
then Richard Harris.
Wow.
Richard Burton took ill. And my dear friend, Eddie Stone, who I grew up with, who has now since departed, he came to me with this idea of doing a club act at Ted Hook's on stage.
I remember that name.
Just 46th Street, I believe. Wasn't
Okay.
it? I don't know.
We'll
It
look
was
it up.
in that area.
Okay.
And that was when there was a lot of clubs, a lot of cabarets. And so he's the one that introduced me to Mark, who was 19. 19. And Larry Saltzman,
Yeah.
the guitar player, Larry Saltzman, he was in the band as well. And so I've known him. And Larry Saltzman taught Timothée Chalamet how to play guitar.
Wow.
For 5 years, he worked with him. Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. Are you being considered for a redo of Hairspray or something anywhere?
Well, what would I play?
Forget it.
They got a role of a grandmother somewhere?
My point was, you're still friends with Mark to this day, I'm sure.
Oh,
yes?
yeah. I was so privileged to, sing at his 60th birthday party.
Oh.
And he'd already been musical director for Bette Midler. I think he started when he was 16. I'm not joking.
My goodness.
Yeah. So he was old. He was an old guy. He was just like, by the time I got to him, he was 19.
19 and 1980.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a wonderful life.
Truly.
I'll say very rich.
Richard Burton, speaking
Richard
of
Burton,
rich. My God.
Richard Harris.
How was that?
I adored them. Absolutely
bet.
adored both of them. And I had 3 days to learn the part. You didn't hear about that?
No.
Well, they had apparently they were in rehearsal, and I was at a club. I was at Ted Hook's on stage listening to someone perform. I was approached by the casting director, and he said, what would you think about playing Guinevere opposite Richard Burton? And I was like, wow, sounds great. You know? And I went to this audition. I was on the stage with the stage manager, Jerry Adler, who ended up being an actor in a lot of Woody Allen's movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I'm reading with him, and then I hear in the back of the house, this just very deep, like mellifluous voice that said something to the effect of, I want to read with her. So it was just, everything became slow motion. I just look out in the audience and I see Richard Burton coming down the aisle, and he's got this beautiful powder blue cashmere sweater on that just illuminated those baby blue eyes that he had. And he walked up on the stage, and there was the ghost light on the stage. And he came over to me and he just very gently kissed me on the cheek, probably both sides, since he was from the other side of the ocean, right? And we read together. And, there was that part of me that was wanting to appear calm, I didn't want to just fangirl, completely out at that moment. I was just trying to act normal, like this was normal that I would be reading with Richard Burton, But the inside of me was screaming, It was kind of like that. And then the producers came over to me after I read with him, and they said, "Hey, kid, can you learn the part by Friday?" I was like, "Sure," Like, what do I know, And that's what happened. I didn't understand in my naivete, what I was taking on, when I answered the call, The morning of the performance on Thursday night, that's right, Thursday night, Richard Burton came to me and he said, "Oh, dear, you don't mind, the lights are killing me. You don't mind if I don't go on tonight, do you?" I thought, oh, Lord, so the last chance that you have to rehearse the whole thing is gone because he didn't go on. So I did it with the understudy. So the only time that I ever performed with Richard Burton was opening night.
Wow.
And I didn't do it with him up until then, because he wanted to take a break, I guess. He just, the lights were killing him. So,
It happens.
And then they also were making costumes for me because the girl who played it before, she was like 5'3", and I'm 5'9". So they had to make new costumes for me. So for the first time was opening night that I'm in the costumes with, trains and all that, So
Wow.
I remember that Friday morning getting in front of Franz Ahlers, who was this very famous German conductor that I believe he conducted the original Camelot, and then he came back and did it for the revival. He greeted me. "Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Christine. Introduced me to the orchestra. This is Christine. She's going to be playing Guinevere. We'll start with the simple joys of maidenhood, So, Saint Genevieve, Saint Genevieve, right? So he starts to play it, and I was in such sensory overload by this point because just for 3 days it was nonstop, trying to learn the entire part. And so by the time it came to the orchestra, run through on the morning of, when it came to the part for the time for me to sing, I didn't know what I was doing. So it was on, and well, I don't. All right, well, let's start again. I don't know what. All right, one more time. We start again. I can't remember anything. So they just removed me. They said, "Come over here and lay down in this dark room." So don't think about anything.
Right.
And then that's it.
Too much.
Then that night at the O'Keefe Center in Toronto, sold out audience, 3,500 people. And there I was. I mean, it was crazy. And I remember there was one part during the lusty month of May where tra-la is May, and I'm meeting Lancelot for the first time, right? And so he's comes in and blah, 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 and Richard Burton is there and Richard Munes is there. And, I'm about to meet them and meet the new Lancelot, right? And I remember there was a voice. It was almost like the angel and devil were sitting on either shoulder at this moment, because the devil just, as I'm meeting them and they're talking, and my lines are going to come up soon, and the devil just said, "You have no idea what your next line is." It was like that. And the angel's going, "Be here now, stay in the moment, stay in the moment." It was literally like this battle. And it was the moment the angel prevailed, because the moment that I was supposed to speak, the words just came out.
Mm-hmm.
The words were just there. They just came out. It was a miracle.
Because you're you, and that is your
it just
DNA
was a miracle.
and talent.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle of God. That's all I can say, because it wasn't by any of my doing. So I clearly didn't know what the heck was going on, but
wow.
it was an amazing
and how long
experience.
did that last?
A year.
A year.
Mm-hmm. It was a great experience. Yeah, I mean, really, to have those things at the beginning. And then, of course, I left. I didn't want to renew my contract. And so I came back to New York City. And like a few weeks later, I got Saturday Night Live. How nutty is that?
My word.
Where am I?
I'm sure you're not the first Guinevere to get, be whisked away to Saturday Night Live.
I mean, what? It was just a different galaxy.
We watched a quick little clip today of you doing a weather report without doing a weather report.
Oh, yes.
Do you have any memory of that at all?
I think I was ranked. They ranked, because I did, News Update. I was selected, Brian Doyle Murray and myself, we were selected for a News Update. They rated from best to worst. The best being number 1 and the worst being 25. I think I was 22 or 23. So my strengths lied in other areas.
Last night I killed my husband. We were married 7 years.
No, really, I mean, I think the only place I really had confidence, or that I had the most confidence, was the singing. I felt that I could contribute in the singing. And that's why Dick Ebersole hired me, because he wanted to add more singing to the show. I did go to the 50th.
Oh.
That was fun.
That
was amazing.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was just kind of amazing. It was just great to see everybody, and it's kind of like a big family, even though you never worked with people that were on subsequent years, you just, you're just part of the tribe of it. So it was great.
And your first film role?
Tootsie.
Oh, it's one of those movies that we watch once a year.
It's a perfect movie.
It's such a great movie.
I was in 2 perfect movies, Tootsie and Amadeus.
And where did Tootsie fall into the Richard Harris and Richard Burton and SNL? It was right in there somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right after I got fired from Saturday Night Live.
Okay. That's a nice consolation prize.
I would think so, right?
Mm-hmm. I was in Saturday Night Live 1980, the season 81-82. So it was the fall of 81 to June of 82. And then Tootsie was right in the summer there. And then I did Geniuses at Playwrights with Jerry Gutierrez directing. And after that, I did Three Sisters at the Manhattan Theater Club. And then from that, I got Amadeus. So if I didn't get I didn't get the axe from Saturday Night Live, I would never have been able to do Amadeus. So when the Lord closes a door, he opens a window.
Or a sliding glass door. Or some kind of other thing, opportunity.
Yeah.
That's great. But with Saturday Night Live, it's not necessarily a firing, is it? It's just we're moving on to the next chapter of people, or...
Well, that's one way of putting it. Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they told me. We're making changes.
We're making changes.
That's a nice way of
You're
saying.
part of the family, and you were there for the...
Heck out. Now close the door and don't come back.
Have you ever sung... So one of my favorite songs is It Might Be You from Tootsie. I mean, it was introduced in Tootsie.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that a great song?
I can
never
hear
sang
you
that,
singing that song.
You should.
Oh, it's a great song.
We're going to put that on our next cabaret act request list for you.
Okay.
When we send out
That's
the
okay.
cards, we could write with our little pencils.
Yes.
Put in the
Is that
fishbowl.
Stephen Bishop?
Yeah.
It's the Bergmans, the lyric.
Yeah, but it's Stephen Bishop.
Right.
Stephen Bishop. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yes. Okay. Sorry, my brain went to the other part of it. But yeah.
That was one of our wedding songs.
That was a...
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
It Might Be You.
Yeah.
Someone's telling me
Yes, it
might
was.
be
Our
you.
wedding.
Well, it was one of our songs. Maybe it wasn't at our wedding.
Why don't we have Christine tell us about it? He didn't screw this up on purpose.
I didn't.
What do you remember about her?
Michael Feinstein and I sang This Moment, right?
You sang This Moment.
Oh.
You and Michael sang Two for the Road,
Oh, Two for the Road,
right.
yeah.
which you've done that with Michael and his
Yeah,
act,
it's
and
one of
the
my
act you
favorites,
did
yeah.
together is such a stunning song. It's Two for the
It's a
Road.
great song.
And then Michael sang All the Time. That was the wedding. But It Might Be You. Definitely want to hear you sing that.
Okay. Is that when you redo your vows?
Yeah, well,
Well,
we're coming up in 10 years next year.
This is part of the reason we wanted to see you today. We know that you and Michael started a little bit of a cottage industry after our wedding, you know. No, but we have our 10-year anniversary coming up a year from now. A year from next March, it'll be 10 years. Can you imagine 10 years? So we're thinking of renewing our vows with a giant party because our wedding only had 12 people. Who better than you? Who better than Michael? And how blessed were we to have that experience, right?
Yeah, it was very special.
It was very special in spite of what happened. And I've embraced that now. I embrace it. I fully embrace it. It happened. I can't undo it. The road not taken doesn't exist. So.
One thing we've talked about recently is that we have video from that night. We've never watched it.
It was too...
Because it was just...
But we're going to watch it.
There was a story that night, because we didn't know if the wedding was going to happen or not going to happen, postpone it, walk around, have dinner, send the dinner away. But when cooler heads prevailed, we got back to the business of getting married. You got to marry us almost twice, at least 1.5 times. And then things proceeded. We went down to the dining room. Everybody was feeling very good at that point. You were feeling particularly good at that point. And your father was feeling particularly good at that point. And that's when he started to tell the story.
Do you remember meeting Lenny? Lenny Pastelio. Do you know he still asks to this day, how's my friend Christine?
Aww.
She danced with me.
She danced.
Please give him my best, would you?
I will. And you had a dance with him, and that made the man's life.
Aww.
Bill, nothing went on. We promise you. There's nothing to be worried about. I promise you this. But so that night he told the story that I was a huge Sinatra fan, still am, but back in the day, I was kind of a lunatic. I'll leave it at that. He took me to a convention in 1984, Frank Sinatra Convention, up in Niagara Falls.
Imagine.
Oh, I wish I was there.
All of these Sinatra fans and collectors from all over the world got together in Niagara Falls in a giant hotel, took over the hotel. And they were selling wares and rare records, and you could buy anything and everything related to Frank Sinatra. It was like Frank Sinatra flea market, okay? My father and my dear friend from childhood, Anthony Russo, the three of us. My father's a troublemaker, if you may have learned from our wedding. And
Mischief maker.
Mischief. He makes mischief. But if you remember, at the convention hall, I was busy doing my Sinatra checking and things. He went, and I saw him doing something with a glass and a piece of paper. And it was across the room. And I went running because I knew this was not going to be good, because he's a mischief maker. Mm-hmm. He's a ball buster at the end of the day. And on that piece of paper I got there, I picked it up and I read it. And I began to tear it up immediately because it said, for people to see, at a bean convention in Boston in 1962, Frank Sinatra farted into this glass, $5 per sniff.
Oh, that's terrible.
But apparently...
Where do you draw the line from mischief to trouble? I think he crossed it.
I think it was the moment when the air came back into the room.
I think we all needed a good fart joke.
The way you laughed so hard. I'll just never forget. He looked at you. Is she sitting on a feather?
And that went on for 10 minutes. Anyway.
Oh, that was
Please give
heaven.
him my love.
Lenny. The last time we saw you, we had a little FaceTime visit with your bird, who was doing...
Big Sally.
Yeah. Big
Uh-oh.
Sally.
How's Big Sally?
Big Sally is a never-ending source of delight.
Oh.
I'm telling you. He's amazing. Well, he got the name because I thought it was a girl when I bought him at Birds Plus in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
When I was out in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of alone time, and I was just very lonely. Mm. And I thought, I've got, it ends up being like Christmas Carol, when you're by yourself, and it's like the ghost of Christmas past comes to your room every night, and it's late, and you're alone in the dark, and your past is reviewed, and you never get good reviews. Oh. It's never good reviews. I thought, I've got to get the attention off me,
Okay.
My troubles. So I've got to take care of something. But we had all these cats and dogs already at home, and I thought, I'm doing a TV show, and so I got a bird. So I thought it was a girl. So I thought, my married name is Maloney. So I thought, like a nice Irish milkmaid kind of sound, Sally Maloney, right? But then I found out that it was a boy, because the boy birds are the ones that are the singers, So I changed it to Big Sally. So
how you doing?
So it went from the Irish milkmaid to a thug's life. But he's just, oh my gosh, he's just
Big
the most
Sally.
hilarious bird.
Yes.
Absolutely
we got
hilarious.
That full on experience.
And then we have three dogs. It is 8. Yeah.
It's 8?
It's 4 cats.
4 cats, 3
dogs, and a cockatiel.
And Big Sally.
Yeah, Big Sally. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a full-time help with all this?
Yeah, it's just basically zookeeping now, because we're in the third act, So now it's the third act of the play. It's a little more stress-free, not as much stress. So we can manage it.
After having spent the last several years out in LA, you had a very successful TV show, but I understand that was a lonely time. How does it feel to be back?
It was always feeling like I was at an outpost, Yeah, because and especially having the animals, there's something about your animals that just, that they don't care if you've bathed or paid the rent. They love you unconditionally. Mm. There's just something very special about that. But, and it also signifies home, So that's really where the home was.
Yeah.
It was in Maplewood. And, I'm so appreciative and grateful. We have this beautiful apartment in LA. Oh my gosh, it's just exquisite. We absolutely love it. We're just enjoying being back in Maplewood, but really enjoying, it's like a revival of really enjoying New York.
Oh,
That's why you're going to find us a little nice pied-à-terre somewhere.
With a secret door.
With a secret
And a fireplace.
door and a
That
fireplace
works.
that works. A working fireplace. But I don't know. It doesn't, it's fine because it's okay to just be in the imagination of it. You know, it doesn't cost as much if it's in your imagination.
but it is fun for us to search for those because we love nooks and old
those-
spaces and character.
Yes.
One of the strangest fireplace stories we've ever had was a 1920s building, Park Avenue. And we looked at all the floor plans in this particular line and we had a listing. We said, it's a shame that you don't have the fireplace. The other, I guess the higher floors got them. And the owner said, oh, we have a fireplace. Where is it? We covered it with drywall.
Why?
For a piece of art that was not very good. And I thought, who in New York City covers a wood-burning fireplace?
Real
yeah.
estate stories.
Yeah. Real estate stories. So fireplaces, they're good.
Yeah, we love fireplaces.
Yeah,
are
we love
good.
fireplaces.
You'll come to our
I was
house.
going to say, you haven't been
in
out
the
to the
lodge.
house.
No, I haven't.
You're going to come out. You have to.
Okay.
The only big decision you have to make when you come to our house is what room you want to stay in.
Oh, okay.
Because there are personality rooms.
Oh, really?
You have 3 choices, and I think I know the answer that Christine will pick. You have Frank Sinatra, Peter Allen, or Noel Coward. Why is she laughing?
I just think it's funny.
It's funnier than my father's fart jokes.
It's just goofy. And funny.
It's goofy.
Well, it would probably be Noel Coward.
Of course it will.
It's a popular room.
It's popular. A favorite memory of our wedding night was if when we were signing the official papers at the end of the night, and where it said the officiant had to sign her name, we put you down and it said title. We had to put a title for Christine Ebersole. Do you remember what we put?
No.
2-time Tony winner.
You didn't put Reverend?
We didn't.
Reverend 2-time Tony winner.
I might have put a
Reverend
slash,
Reverend
but I think I put the Tonys first.
Fantastic.
Reverend Ebersole.
Well,
Do you still have the power to officiate at weddings? Have you done weddings since ours?
no.
No. Ours was the last.
That was the last.
That was your
Yeah.
retirement from weddings.
Yeah.
Too much liability.
Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Tell me the truth. You can tell me.
You queered the deal for me. No pun intended. No.
Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm out. Oh. At our party last summer, a mutual friend just went to you and said, staunch.
Do you remember that?
Staunch! There's nothing worse, I tell you. Staunch! S-T-A-U-N-C-H. Staunch women, we just don't weaken.
What the relatives didn't realize is that they were dealing with a staunch character. Is that what I said?
Yes. And a lot more. It went on and on about,
I'm telling you.
red shoes.
There's nothing worse. I'm telling you.
Well,
Yeah, those we do that still.
You do?
know. Yeah.
we do the same thing. We
Yeah.
have you
And
just say a
even
line and
unconsciously, I'll say something, and Bill will be like, "That was Edie," she emerges. She's a part of me,
Of course.
Our nieces asked years ago, said, Uncle Tom, Uncle Mickey, why do you sing everything? I said, what do you mean? He said, every time we say something, there's a song for it. He said, that's life. I don't accept when people say musical theater is an unrealistic construct. It depends where you live and how you live. It's quite realistic to us. We don't have an original score every time.
Yeah, no, we say that all the time. It's all, they go part and parcel. Life, show business, love, family, food, all that good stuff.
Yeah.